Right, let's see how this works. Hey, Tim, I'm gonna walk you through this, or at least I'm gonna take a look at these files for you in Cura, because that's what you're using. Let's see if we can figure out what's up with these prints. Okay, so I have the files downloaded. Let's open from disk. What am I printing? You're gonna have these in a different place. Obviously, I've got a hot mess. Oh, geez. So what you probably did was select all and then just brought them in. Chunk, 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 chunk. And it does not look like fun. Right click, arrange the models. Okay. And that's so that it can automatically find the best location for it. Now, if I come underneath is where I really want to look at. There's lots of parts that have like this right here. Why can't it? This right here, anything in teal is touching the build plate. And so this right here, this head, it only has these two little spots right here and here. And whatever this is, only has this one tiny little spot, this crowbar. That little tiny spot is the only place on this entire crowbar that is touching the plate. So that's going to need supports. It just feels like there's lots of little parts that could easily, like these things, I don't know what these are, connectors. They have little tiny pieces. Here's another helmet type thing that's got just a couple of small pieces. So that gives me pause right away to say, hey, we're gonna need some rafts or brims or something, or supports even on some of these things. Like these helmets aren't gonna, I don't think they're gonna print very well, especially if we look again, if we look underneath, you've got all this material under there, and maybe the developer, maybe the builder of these made these so you don't need supports inside there because they're at angles. That could very well be, but this spot over here might need some support. So this is what I do when I first see a build. First of all, I never do this. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete everything. Then I'm going to come in back in from my disk. And is there any way we can... Okay, we got back of hands, we've got bodies, color parts, we got crowbars, a gun, we've got head types, we've got joints, we've got... Okay, so left arms. See, this is where I break it down into section. Let's just do the left arm. Let's just take a look at those pieces, because it's going to be a little bit easier to see. Arrange all the models. And this is what I would do if I was going to print this. I'm like, all right, let me just print these. And see how these turn out, because I don't want to waste a whole bunch of filament on building everything out and then have an issue with, you know, 2 or 3 of these pieces. And then I'm going to have to come back and do it again anyway. So let's take a look at this. And I'm just using basic standard 2.0 millimeter height, layer height. There's nothing crazy here. I'm just gonna, just as basic default Creality Ender 3v3 SE settings. So let's slice it. Let's take a look. Let's just hide that to give us some more room. So here we can see how it's gonna build. Top part's not a problem. That doesn't look too bad. I don't see why these would not print well. Again, this is giving me pause, this one here. because there's not a ton of footprint on the build plate. And then like here, if I drop this all the way down to layer 1. Okay, so we do have some things. Okay, so it's got more than I thought on the build plate. Should be okay. So then what I would do is I would save this to disk. Good grief. Why doesn't it remember where I just picked these files up from? So I'm going to create a new folder and call it exports. It's fine. I'm going to go in there. We're going to call this left arm. For now, I just want to keep everything organized. Save it to disk. And then I believe I have to erase this. I have to clear the build plate, and then I have to add more stuff. Yeah, it's a headache. It's a big process. Let's do head A. But by doing this, what I'm doing is looking at every little piece and seeing how is it's very, very rare. I keep saying this. It's very rare for me to have something that I just download, slice, and print. I have to fiddle with every stinking thing. Look at this. The red means that it's probably going to need supports, because as this layers up, let's slice it. Let's take a look at this. These parts right here are going to be a problem. We're going to need supports because as this comes up, it's going to want to try and print out in the middle. Look at that. This stuff's just floating in space. So we're going to need supports for this, because that's an impossibility. We can't just print out into the middle of the air. Let's go back down to layer 1. Yeah, these parts here on the helmet, that's not a lot of, I don't have a lot of confidence in these parts right here, that these little tiny sections are going to be solid and secure enough, especially with this overhang, to help that whole helmet get built. So what I'm going to do is go back into prepare. I'm going to drop this down. Let's turn to supports. Where's support? Okay, let's generate supports. I'm going to leave it as tree. And then I want to just select touching build plate. Let's just try that. So what that's going to do is generate the support, but only in areas that are touching the build plate. So one of the downsides is it's going to create a lot of trees there. Not really a fan of that. Let's try normal. Touching build plate. We'll slice that. See how that looks. So you got to do this. It looks like a hot mess. There's going to be a lot of post-processing cleanup, but this is going to give us the best possibility of a good print, good outcome. I still don't like that. I don't like that, but what I would do is print this and see if the supports give any structural help with the actual model. So let's go up here and take a look. So the supports really don't do jack for the helmet. So I would be tempted to add build plate adhesion. Let's do a brim width. Let's just do like 4 millimeters. It doesn't have to be huge, but I know this is crazy. This is stupid. Look at that. That's a lot of stuff, but I want it to print right the first time. This looks ugly. How about we take, yeah, we're going to have the supports. And I don't think you can you do specific model? How about we do this? Let's take a look. Let's do none brim. Let's uncheck that. And I wonder if, let's just check here. Seems like there was a spot where you could do per model settings. So just for this helmet, I want print supports. And where does that say? Generate supports. Okay. This, I definitely want supports. This one seems fine, and this one back here seems fine. Let's slice it and see what happens. So we might be able to go through and just have, there we go. Oh, it's going to do it everywhere anyway. Then what's the point of having... What? Hang on. Close that. Let's uncheck supports. No brim. Print as support. Print as support. Normal model. Modify settings for overlap. Don't support overlaps. This is one of the reasons I'm not a fan of Cura, is it doesn't really let you do a lot of stuff that I'm used to in Orca. That's what I would do. Oh, let's click this. I would just make sure that everything's got a brim. And again, I would just print this part. Don't print the whole, don't print 50 parts or 100 parts. Just do the things you might have problems with. It also lets you have better color control. So if, let's say I want the helmet to be red, I could definitely do that. Supports, brim, where's... No, they're right next to each other. Want to add supports, normal. It should be fine. I would slice it. And then just print this. What do my stats say for this print? Where's my stats on here? Oh, it's going to take an hour. It's not going to use much filament, 5 grams. That's hard. That's nothing. But it's going to take an hour to print that. But I mean, that's what I would do. Let's save project. No, let's just save the disk. And this was head A. Save that. Clear the build plate. What else we got? Let's take another look at some other things. But yeah, this is what I do for everything, is I'll download it and then look. Okay, so we have left arm. Let's look at left foot. It's going to be those two. Left foot shouldn't be too bad. Let's arrange those. Let's add left leg. Leggy boy. Left leg. There's parts. 5, 6, 7. I don't know. Arrange the models. Take a look at the underside. That looks pretty good. This should print just fine. Bridging might be able to take care of that. Let's just slice it and see what happens. But I've got brim already set, so it's going to put the brim on. And then I have support set, so it's going to add the supports. Cura. I mean, you could leave the supports or the bridging on. I'm going to turn supports off, reslice it. Also, that seems like a lot of brim. It's only 4 millimeters. But this is going to make sure that all these parts that have not so much sticky to the bed part are going to have more sticky to the bed part. It just helps make sure that this is going to just print. So that's going to take an hour and 11 minutes. Let's save that to disk, and we're going to, why? Okay, that's fine. What? But I'm breaking this down so that I can inspect all the parts. Let's clear the build plate. I got to go to prepare. Let's go back and look at our files. Where's the other thing here? The crowbar. That doesn't have, I mean, if you look at that, you can see through it. So that doesn't need any adhesion, but I am going to add supports normal to the bridge plate, and we're going to slice that and preview it. So this is going to be a much better outcome. So we'll save that to disk, and now we can just say, you know, crowbar. We'll just leave that out here. There's not much to that. Okay, go back to preview, right click, clear the plate. Let's take another look at some other things. Let's look at the body. Body 1, 2, 3. But again, Tim, I know I keep saying it, but this is what I do. This is, you got to do this for everything. Look at that. There's no way that this is going to print okay. One, look at all the parts of it that are hanging in the air, and it just has this one little spot on the bed. That ain't gonna work. I have zero faith in that. Zero faith. Other than that, I think there's nothing in here that I would really need. I don't think I need supports. I might do it anyway. Let's do just because of these overhangs. I don't like these overhangs. And this section back here, we got all kinds of overhangs. So I would tree this. Let's go into supports. Let's hit tree. And then I'm going to also do brim on the bed adhesion at the 4 millimeters. Let's slice it and see how this looks. I said slice it. So this is using the Ultimaker Cura slicer. It's going to take 2 hours, 14 grams, not much, but look at that. All these places that are going to have supports are getting them from the trees. Okay, the tree supports, but this one specifically that we were having a concern about is now getting brims and tree supports. So I have high confidence that that's going to print and not have any issues. Yes, it's a hot mess. Yes, it's going to take 2 hours. So when you break it all down like this, your one robot thing is going to take all day, but you know it's going to be done right. It's going to be done good. There's going to be some cleanup, which isn't a problem. These trees and all these supports really easily break away. It shouldn't be any issue. Let's save that to disk for funsies. We'll just leave that called body. Now I'm going to go switch over to Orca Slicer and take a look at these files in Orca Slicer just to have a little bit of comparison and show why I like Orca just because it has a little bit more functionality that I would want to see. So let's open a new project. We're going to come in here and we're going to grab the same files. And I'm going to break them up into just as I would if I were going to build this myself. I'm going to select those three. It's going to import. Nope. Import them all separately. This is auto orient. So it orients the objects as how the slicer can best handle it. This is going to arrange the objects. Okay, so we can see right away, it's automatically put this part that we had to put a bunch of trees on. And you could arrange that in Cura, but you have to do it manually. This is really nice. It just slaps it right down. Now it's got a much bigger footprint. So when I slice this, we'll be able to see how much of that actually hits the floor. And it looks like a lot more than just this little section up here. So I could probably print this no problem, no skirts, no brims, none of that stuff. Let's go back into prepare. But we still have those overhangs that I'm kind of concerned about. So what I'm going to do is come over here to support. I'm going to turn on my supports and I'm going to do tree auto and slice it again and see what we get. Let's ramp this all the way up. So it does print trees, but as you can see, it doesn't print as many. It just puts the tree supports right where you want them. It builds right off of here. And I've used this on several parts. These snap off really easily. They don't have a problem. And this only takes an hour and 39 minutes. It's going to use 13 grams of filament. It's going to cost me about 26 cents. But look at this. I don't have hardly any parts that I need support for that. So one of the other nice things about Orca is, let's say I want to group a bunch of these. I can name this plate body. Let's rename it correctly, Aaron. Body. I can add another plate and then import other things. So that was the body. Let's go back and do head type A. We're going to import that. Load these files as a single object with multiple parts? No. I want them all to be their own separate thing. And here, through our, auto orient and then auto arrange, we can see that Orca has already set this up to be the best print. This is going to be head A. And I'm going to take another, let's just go ahead and slice it, because we're using global settings here, and that should be okay. If we look underneath, I feel confident. It's a small piece. It's not very tall, but it does have a nice footprint for the size of the piece. And again, these are going to print, these tree supports are going to snap right off. Not a problem. Now, if I want to in Orca, let's say these two small parts, like I really want a brim on those. I come over here on process on the left-hand side, and instead of global, I hit objects. I select the object and prepare. I select the object that I want. I come over to others and I say, yes, add a brim to the outer parts only. Brim width, let's do 4 again. And now what this is saying is specifically for this part, it has different settings than global. And now when I slice it, just this part has that brim. So if I have a part of a project that I'm not 100% confident with, I can go in and specifically say, hey, treat this one a little bit differently than everything else. Okay. So I can keep on doing that. Let's add another plate. Let's grab some more parts. That was head A. Let's grab left arm parts, and we're going to grab those. No, we don't want them all as one piece. We're going to auto orient. We're going to auto arrange. There we go. And it's still grabbing all of the globals. Left arm. It's grabbing all of the global settings. So it's going to get tree supports, which is I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. And then what I could do is if I really wanted to, so I've got all my parts spread out. And if I want to, now that I have, once I inspect everything and have it the way I like, I hold shift, click and drag, and then I can move those, click, shift and drag, move those over here, click and drag, and then we auto orient, and it's going to do it all again. Now, if I hit slice, all of the settings that I have set, including these brims, should still be there. Yep. So this is a good way to inspect the parts, or let's say, you know, I just want different head colors, and this lets me keep everything separate or together as I want, right? I can even come over here, right click. Do I have copy? I don't know if I have copy. Let's copy. Let's paste. Okay, you can Control C, Control V to copy paste on your Windows machine. So I can copy that as a group, copy this, copy it down. Now I still have my sources. So if I want different body colors, I can have this one. We'll rename this one complete. Now we did see one in here that was, you mentioned something about pins, joint pins, pin groups. I'm assuming that's the parts to hold everything together. So let's pull in pins. And this is saying make 6 of these. See, that's super small, which is fine. I'm going to right click. I'm going to clone it 5 times. It's going to make the 5 clones. I'm going to orient. I'm going to spread those out. However, these are small. I would try to print this. If I slice this, and when you slice, you can slice by plate. So it's going to take 7 minutes. I would just print this to see how it turns out. And if it turns out okay, and I know I'm going to make a bunch of these, I would change this. I would clone this 49. It's going to make 49 of them, 50 in all. Right? Let's clone them. Let's orient the objects. Might take a second. Bang. I don't really like that spacing, but that's fine. It gives each one time to cool off. So now if I slice this build plate, it's gonna take an hour, but I've got 50 parts divided by, what do we need? 6 each. So that's 4. Can I do math? That's 4 bots worth, which is fine. You know, just run this, go watch a show. And that's fine. What was the other one? Let's grab another plate. And this is pins group. What was this? One I don't need. This just must be, and you can print them in this orientation too. It's totally up to you. So I could just say, hey, I like how these are sitting. Let's clone this one 10 times. And there you go. Now you got 60. And orient it, slice it. It's going to take an hour and 9 minutes. looks fine. So you can do those either way. But the nice thing is I can now save this. If I go up to File, Save Project as Action Figure Files, I'm going to call this Articulated Robot Orca Slicer Project. Okay. And so now that this project is all saved, I can slice and save off each build plate. So each one of these is going to be its own thing, which is super nice because let's say I have my my Enterprise. So let me open up the Enterprise. This is part of the Enterprise A Constitution class. So I broke the whole project up into the whole build up into multiple projects so that I could better look at the different parts. So if I click on this build plate and hit slice, these might have a little bit different settings. See how they've got some supports in there and they've got brims, but if I go back and look at the main plate, the part of the hull, it's gonna automatically slice it, but it's not gonna have hardly any of that because it's gonna take the whole plate. I won't have any problems. The only problem I'll probably have is lifting. Oh, I guess I did put brim on here. Oh, I did because they're globals and I needed some of that in here. But if I wanted to, I could come click on this, hit objects, click on this, and then say plate settings. Oh, I'm in preview. Click on this, others. I don't need a brim on this. And then if I re-slice it, the brim should be gone, but everything else should be there as it is. And then if I go back and look at my parts, the brims are still there. So Orca Slicer gives you a lot of customizability for these kinds of things. So let's take another look here at where's Vader's lightsaber parts. Here we go. This one is, I broke it, Darth Vader's lightsaber parts. These are all the black parts I need. And so I was able to come in here and put each thing on its own plate, ensuring that it builds by itself. If I take a look at this plate and slice it, it's going to take an hour, but I want a ton of control over how these are going. So if this screws up, I just got to reprint this. I don't have to worry about reprinting the entire bed of all the parts. I could do that if I wanted to. This part's going to take another hour and 16. I think probably because, yeah, I got some crazy infill in here because I wanted this as part of the handle and I want it to be more solid than the rest of them. So that's got some pretty good infill, whereas these parts probably don't. These are the parts I was telling you about. They're tall when they print up and they're curved. So when it gets really tall, it can vibrate a little bit. This is a 3.5 hour print. Still has infill in there, which is fine. I don't care about that. I mean, if I wanted to, I could do lightning or no infill. It'd probably print just fine. So anyway, that's how I do it in Orca Slicer, just to get, like I said, it just gives me more control over how I slice things and how I do things. Like here, let me go to my card kits or my kit cards. I found a bunch. These are the ones that I wanted to print, and I've got each one named out on its own plate. So if I want to print out just a speeder, I can click on here, arrange the object, slice that, and then, but this is one project where I can have all of my kit cards. It's going to take me an hour to print this off. It's going to take 16 grams, 32 cents, but it's going to print off that whole kit card in an hour. And And that way I just have everything there. So that's how I do that. Here's another one. I was building these Factorio science packs for funsies. I'm like, I'm going to make 1,000 of each color. It's going to be so fun and just be something to do. And it works great. I have a couple of problems with it. But here you can see, here's how I'm going to print one of the packs and then one of the tops that goes onto it. I can slice that. And it's going to take me 4 minutes. It's not a problem. And I printed these. This does not need any kind of brim or anything. It somehow this prints just fine through trial. Like, you know, because that's how I was like, well, let's just see if it prints. If it doesn't print, it's fine. I wasted 4 minutes. If I need to add a brim to it, I'll add a brim to it. So once I figured out, okay, these print just fine. I'll stop. Here's a bed that has, I think this is 200 of the tops. Just go ahead and stop. This has 200 of the tops, and I think this is 100 of the, let's just do a select. Yeah, this is 100 of the bottles, and then 200 of the tops. So I can take this and print that off in whatever color I want. And I can have white tops or gray tops. I like the gray tops a little bit better. Or if I just wanted to print 10, I can print 10. But Orca is really good. It gives you a lot of control for stuff like this, where I can really take a look at the different parts of the build and tweak each one as I need it to. And even then, sometimes you got some problems. So, oh, here's Minecraft gift cards. Found a bunch of Minecraft ones too. So if I want pigs, I can just come here and print off a pig. Anyway, that's how I use Orca Slicer.